guys, Christoph here for another Elestrals video. Today we're going over our second Daybreak Starter Deck, which is Pharogeist. Pharogeist is a Solar Lunar, so one of the first Lunar cards to ever come out. Super cool ability that it can't be destroyed by a battle, and it can't be sent back to your hand. So really strong card, 9 attack, 13 defense, so very good card. We'll go over that shortly. We are going to see the little camel icon right here. That is the logo for the starter deck. Right here on the side, you're going to have the list of your 60 card deck. You're going to go ahead on the back. You're going to see how it shows 3 cards. It's really cool that Daybreak started, or Elestrals started doing that. They started it with Frostfall, but they get 3 packs per box. So that's really cool to customize each starter deck. But it talks about the deck and talks about the game. And on this side, you're going to see Circle of the Sky V4 with Luminate and Alloon, and then a couple of the cards that are in the box. So we're going to go ahead and rip this open. There is a chance to get a Stellar. I believe it's Calf now. It's the baby ascension of Pharogeist. But also there's a chance to get a Reverse Stellar. It is called First Light. It is a super good solar card that lets you search for any solar Elestral from your deck and add it to your hand. The cool thing about it, it doesn't matter what the cost is. So a lot of cards, when they do that, it's for a 1 cost or a 2 cost, but this one you can go up to a 3 cost. So for instance, your starter deck, the card in front, Pharogeist, is a 2 Lunar, 1 Solar, so you can still search for this card. So just like all the starter decks, you're going to have a custom 20-sided die. And you're going to see on the icon right there, that is the solar symbol. That is actually number 20. And then you're going to have the rest of it on there. So this one's really cool because it's got the yellow and the orange to kind of showcase the sun. So we'll zoom back out real quick. Alright, so when you go into this starter deck, you're going to have the 3 blister packs that come with it. We'll open those up after. So when you open the box, you are going to have a learn to play guide. So anyone that's new, there's also a QR code in the back that goes straight to a video on YouTube. Very good video. Graphics are amazing. They went above and beyond, but it kind of teaches you how to play the game. And there, guys, is your Pharogeist. So the only issue I've seen so far with Lunar is that the such dark purple, sometimes the writing, the text is a little dark because it is purple on black. So that might be something, you never know, they might go down the road and change it and maybe some like white text on there. But we're going to go ahead and rip this. We're going to go over Pharogeist and then we'll see if we pulled ourselves a Stellar. Alright. So Pharogeist, again, is a 3 cost. It is 2 Lunar, 1 Solar, which states this Pharogeist cannot be destroyed by battle, and it cannot be returned to the hand by opponent's card effect. So for instance, Shield of Achilles, they won't be able to bounce it back to you. The secondary ability, opponents must also expend 1 spirit in order to cast cards. So any card they use is going to cost them an additional spirit. So very good card to have. And let's see, did we get ourselves a Stellar? No Stellar today, guys, sadly. So here's Calf-Mel. That would have been the Stellar. This is a 3/4 1 cost solar. When you ascend this Calf-Mel or it's destroyed, you can return 3 spirits in any combination of solar and lunar and add them to your spirit deck. So 3 cards, if used correctly, will heal you 9 times, up to 9 spirits. So really cool card. And now you have the Ascension, the middle Ascension. This is Pharamel, 1 Lunar, 1 Solar. It is a 4 attack, 7 defense, which states when your opponent's Celestial declares an attack, you can expend a Lunar in order to negate that attack, and then special ascend this Pharamel into Pharogeist from your hand or deck. So 7 defense is already good, but if there is a chance they're going to go ahead and attack over this, you can then negate that attack and then summon your heavy hitter out. Drator, if you guys watched the last video, this is a healer. So this one states you're going to Nexus 1 Solar. Sorry, guys. There we go. We're going to Nexus 1 Solar. When you do, you can return 2 Solar from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. So this will be the 4th card in this deck that lets you heal spirits. Very cool. Lunar, this is an amazing card. So there's a deck out there called Five Guys that this will probably be added to Five Guys. And then Mill Deck. I actually use this card to make an aggressive version of that Mill Deck. So it's a 5 attack, 2 defense. 5 attack is absolutely amazing. And it states, when this Lunar destroys an opponent's Celestial in battle, your opponent must send the top 3 cards of their deck to the underworld. So milling is making your opponent send cards from their deck to the underworld. So every time it destroys an Celestial, they're going to have to mill it too. P-Gleam, only a 1 in this one. In this deck, it is a 1 cost, 1 attack, 2 defense. When this P-Gleam receives 1 or more solar spirits, you can target an Celestial and the base attack becomes 0 until the end phase. So I always use Pantera as an example because it has the highest attack in the game at 15. So you can essentially summon P-Gleam, take that 15, put it to a 0, and then a 1 attack will be able to beat it. So very interesting, cool card. Soul Bell, this is a new little cow. 1 attack, 4 defense. While you foretell, which we'll get into foretell later on in this starter deck, you may special ascend this Soul Bell to a foretold Soul Stalks. So basically, when you use the foretell mechanic, and if you do pull Soul Stalks, you can immediately special ascend that. Your Apollo's effect that foretell cards revealed will be you add 2. Sorry guys, I'm butchering that. I apologize. Basically, when I use Apollo's ability, I get to add 2 cards. So we'll go over that after. And here's Soul Stalks, the one we just talked about. This is the Ascension, 4 attack, 7 defense, 2 cost. When you special cast this Soul Stalks, you can enchant up to 2 solar from your underworld to your field. You can disenchant solar from your Apollo in order to target and destroy a card. So very, very good ability. And again, with its special ability, you're going to bring 2 more spirits back, put them on Apollo, and then use this ability every single turn. Corvashine, we only got 1 of these in this deck. This is a 2 attack, 4 defense. 1 cost solar. When this Corvashine receives 1 or more solar, you can foretell cards equal to the number of spirits plus 1. Then you may draw 1 card and then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So foretelling basically is you're going to pull cards from the top of your deck up to whatever it says. So Corvashine, for instance, it says add 1 to whatever spirits you have when it receives. So you're going to use this ability the turn you summon it, and then if you can nexus more spirits, you're going to do it again. But just to say, we summon Corvashine into defense position. It's got 1 spirit. Because of its special effect, we're going to foretell 2. So we're going to pull the top 2 cards from the top of our deck. So hypothetically, I have 2 cards right here. I got Curubus and Altar Stars. Okay. So you got Corvashine out. Let's use its ability. You're going to foretell 2. So we're going to draw the 2 cards, Curubus and Altar Stars. Okay, guys. So the foretelling is I do have to show my opponent, but what I don't show them is I'm going to put these back on top of my deck in any order I want. So, for instance, for the sake of this deck, we're not going to use water. We're going to use this Altar Stars is a really good card. So what we'll do is we're going to put altars on top, and it's going to be face down. My opponent's not going to know which card is which. Now, its secondary ability, I'm going to draw 1 card, and that's going to be my Soul Stalk, or my Altar Stars. But say I have Soul Stalks in my hand, because I have to put 1 card back on top of my deck. I'm going to take that Soul Stalks, I'm going to put it on top of the deck. So the foretelling states you're going to pick the cards up, put them back in whatever order. But there's a decent amount of foretelling cards, and we'll get to that later on in the starter deck, that they have special abilities that you have to use as well. So Corvashine's is foretelling, draw a card, put a card back on top of the deck. Plucky. This is your Divine Searcher. When you normally cast this Plucky, you can search your deck for a Divine Root and add it to your hand. This deck, for instance, it's going to be Apollo, and you have 2 of these. Cypromal. This is a very cool card. 4 attack, 1 defense. When you cast this Cypromal, you can search your deck for a Golden Fleece and cast it, empowering the Cypromal. Spirits from your spirit deck and or underworld can be used to cast that Golden Fleece. We'll get into Golden Fleece later on. There is, I believe, 2 copies in this deck. Pandolence. So here's a new Lunar. 4 attack, 1 defense. You can disenchant Lunar from this Pandolence in order to return a counter rune from your underworld and put it in your rune row face down. So for instance, Altar Stars, if we had used it, I'm going to use Pandolence to disenchant, and then we're going to get Altar Stars back. If you guys hear the dog barking in the background, someone was going by the house, so he got a little excited. Specterus. This is probably my favorite card in this new deck, in the new set altogether. So it's a 4 attack, 2 defense. This Specterus gets +1 attack for each suppressed Elestral on the field. So suppression means abilities don't work. When the Specterus enters battle with an Elestral that is suppressed, I said that completely wrong. I apologize, guys. It gets +1 attack for every suppressed Elestral, and then when it goes into battle with an Elestral, it immediately suppresses them, which will immediately give it an attack boost. So there are cards you can use. I don't know if it's in this deck, but there's a card called Dense Fog. It's a counter rune. Basically, when you play it, if they're not enchanted Lunar, everything gets suppressed. So if they have 3 Elestrals, for instance, and they all get suppressed, then Specterus will go to a 7 before the battle. Ambrosia, you're going to have 2 of these. It's going to heal 3 spirits per card. Apollo, this is the main foretell card for Daybreak. So it is Divine Rune, 1 cost for Solar. When you cast this Apollo, you can chant up to 3 Solar to it. You can disenchant 1 Solar from this Apollo in order to foretell 3 cards and add 1 Solar Elestral foretold this way to your hand. It does not matter the cost. So for instance, there's a card out there called Celestial. It's a 3 cost, 13 attack. It's all Solar. So if I use Apollo and I get Celestial, I can go ahead and pull that card. Very cool. Temple of the Sun. This is the stadium for Solar. +1 attack and defense for every Solar enchanting and Elestral. This artwork, which is from Jack and Art, absolutely my favorite drawing in this entire game. The artwork, the level of detail in this card, guys, is second to none. If I can go ahead, and I wanted to really show you guys. I saw this on a video and then snapshotted it and zoomed in. Like, look at that art, guys. There's so much detail to this. When I talk about the artwork for Elestrals, absolutely amazing artwork. This is by far the best artwork in the game. So I definitely say, if you guys, even this video right now, if you pause that video where I just had it, when I had it zoomed up like that, snapshot it, go to your camera settings, or go to your photos and zoom in. The artwork is absolutely amazing. Like this card, like on camera right now, it does not do it justice. First Light, this was the card I said that could be a reverse stellar in this set. This is an Invoke Rune, so 1 cost, but you're going to search your deck for a Solar Elestral and add it to your hand. Doesn't matter the cost. Again, Celestial, it's a 3 cost. You can play First Light, pull a 3 cost. Golden Fleece, this was the card we talked about earlier. It is a artifact rune, it's equipment, so it does cost you 2. The Empower Elestral gets +2 defense, which is pretty good depending on what you're doing. Again, I didn't talk about it in this video, but Humbust is a mill card, a 1 attack, 2 defense. And that combo was used against me, Humbust and Golden Fleece, which gives it +2 defense, so we bring it to a 4. But the secondary ability, if the Empower Elestral would be destroyed in battle or by your opponent's card effect, you may destroy this Golden Fleece instead. So essentially, it's going to take you twice to hit over your opponent. Argo, another really good card to have. Only 1 of these in this deck. It's a counter rune, costs you 2, but it states that it can only be used when an Elestral declares an attack, you or your opponent. You're allowed to search your deck for an artifact rune and then play it immediately. So for instance, Golden Fleece. If I feel like my opponent's about to destroy my Elestral, Argo into Golden Fleece, it's going to protect my Elestral from 1 attack, or 1 destruction. Shield of Achilles, again, one of the staples for counter runes. Personally, I always run 3 of these. The Shield of Achilles can only be cast after an opponent declares an attack. You're going to expend 1 spirit equal to the Elestral's enchantment cost in order to negate the attack and return it to their hand. So just kind of keep in mind that if your opponent has a 1 cost Elestral, that's going to cost you 2 total spirits to play this. If they have a 2 cost 3, etc., etc. Poison Tipped Arrow. If a lot of you guys have seen my streams, I'm semi a hater for this card. It is a very good card to have. We'll go over the ability and then I'll tell you why I'm not the biggest fan. This Poison Tipped Arrow can only be cast when an opponent casts an Elestral. So the second they summon an Elestral, you're going to play Poison Tipped Arrow. The target, target that Elestral, and you're going to give it -2 attack until the end phase. During this turn's end phase, you can expend an additional spirit equal to the enchantment cost of the card and destroy it. So if it's a 2 cost, 2 additional spirits, this will cost you 3, etc. The reason I'm not the biggest fan of this card, and I don't run this too often, is that your opponent can still use that Elestral. So you have no Elestrals on the field, you play Poison Tipped Arrow, as long as they have a 1 attack, they're going to cause you damage. If they have a special ability that lets them ascend or summon something else, they get to do that. So personally, like Gorgon's Gaze would be better than this, or Shield of Achilles to get it off the field. It is a very good card. I'm not saying it's not, just me personally, not the biggest fan. Altar of Stars, which is really cool, got a reprint for the starter deck. Before you can only get it in Kickstarter or first edition base set, but it states Nexus 1 spirit. When you do, you're going to change the position of Elestral on the field. So again, your opponent's going to attack you and say your Elestral's weaker, you can go ahead and play Altar of Stars, change them to defense mode. Or what you could do is, if you have a higher defense, your Elestral's an attack and you're afraid they're going to destroy it, play Altar of Stars, turn your Elestral to defense. Another cool way to use this card as well is if you're going to, it says Nexus, if you have a receiver on the field, so for this deck would be Corvashine, Nexus a spirit onto Corvashine, as long as it's solar, and you get to use that ability immediately, even if it's your opponent's turn. So very, very good card. Dense Fog, you got 2 of these in this deck. Suppress each Elestral that is not lunar enchanted until the end phase. So this goes good with that Specterus. You're going to go ahead and you're going to block their entire field. A Specterus is going to get more powerful. There's a card out there called Galaxy. Keep this in mind for your water decks. Going up against a water deck. Galaxy's special ability states you're going to switch the attack and defense of all water enchanted Elestrals on the field. Galaxy is a 2 attack, 5 defense. So flipped will give it a 5 attack, 2 defense. So you play Dense Fog, that's going to be in attack mode normally. It's going to cut that ability, and then almost every Elestral you have is going to be able to attack over that. So that's it for the deck. Now we got our spirits. So make it easy this way. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to have 8 lunar and 12 solar in this deck. No other spirits. And the very last card is going to be a little it's like how to play card. It's a little cheat sheet almost, but it talks about how declaring an attack, their attack versus their defense, whatever. The runes, what the symbols are, which now they say it on the card, so that's really cool. And then each phase of the game. So, Ppharogeist starter deck. Now we're going to go ahead and go over these blister packs. So, fingers crossed you're always wanting to get a Stellar. Ironically, Specterus that was in this deck, this is the Stellar Specterus. It's got the yellow and black, almost like a bumblebee color. Which is ironic because Specterus is a insectoid Elestral. So, kind of cool how they switched the colors to be almost like a bumblebee or yellow jacket. Alright, so we got ourselves Aloon. Veritaqua. So it states that when it attacks an attack position Elestral, that Elestral gets suppressed. And then if this guy has more spirits on him than your opponent, it automatically gets destroyed. Toxic Swarm, a 4/1 wind. When it receives 1 or more wind, your opponent has to expend a spirit, and that includes when you summon them. Rhynymph, 5 defense, frost, 1 attack. You can expend a frost in order to move this Rhynymph to your rune row. When you do, you are going to equip it to an Elestral, preferably your opponent, and that card gets -2 defense. Temple of the Sun, so we got a full play set of that now. Guardian of the Fleece. So this card was made with Golden Fleece in mind. Basically, this is going to protect your Golden Fleece from getting destroyed. This Golden Fleece can only be cast when an opponent activates a card effect that targets an artifact or the Empowered Elestral on the field. Negate that effect, then destroy a card on your opponent's field. So this is a counter rune. It costs you 2. But, you know, for instance, you have an Elestral out with Golden Fleece. They're about to destroy the Elestral, which would mean Golden Fleece would have got destroyed. Guardian of the Fleece is going to give you that 1 extra turn, that 1 extra save. Barabib, this is a 2. It's a 1 frost, 1 earth, 1 water, 3 attack, 7 defense. And it states when your opponent casts any card without earth or water, they have to expend a spirit to play the card. Scavacole, 5 attack, 4 defense. It's a 2 cost. When you ascend this Scavacole, you can expend a fire from your spirit deck. You're going to search your deck for any fire card that costs 1 or 2, and you're going to add up to 2 of those to your hand. Humburst, Very good card. One of my favorite cards that was released. Anyone that knows the term milling, it's forcing your opponent to expend cards from their main deck to the underworld. So you can disenchant disenchant fire and solar from this burst and force your opponent to send the top 6 cards of their deck to the underworld. So this is the milling decks are going to go really good against the foretell mechanic. Because you're going to foretell, you're going to know what's coming. Say you got a combo lined up, then you play any of those mill cards, you're going to mess up that entire combo. And then Apollo Hollow. Very nice. Does the same exact thing, you're just going to get a hollow version. So, very cool. There's also a full art version you can pull in the deck as well, or in a booster box. Alright guys, we're going to do a pack trick, and we got Zaptor this time, the Thunder. Don't poke the bear. This can only be used for the bear decks, but Don't Poke the Bear can only be cast in the battle phase. You're going to pick a bear, and it's going to get 4 attack and 4 defense. So that mama bear right there already has a 13 attack and defense, so that'll jump up to a 17. Fall the Wisp, it's a counter rune fire, so basically when your opponent attacks you, you're going to pick an Elestral. That Elestral is going to be the target the entire time. Dratora, we already saw that in our starter deck. Sundial, this is actually a card that's in the other starter deck, the Chronodial one. So you're going to expend Solar in order to enchant water to your field. During your end phase, you can special ascend this Sundial into Nomadial from your hand or deck if it has water on it. So Nomadial is a solo water, so this just helps you get it out the turn you play this Sundial at the end of the turn. Glimbat. So the interesting thing about Glimbat, this card came out as a counter to Spark It, which forces your opponent to lose a card from their hand. So this is one of the very first hand traps. If anyone plays Yu-Gi-Oh! Knows the term hand trap. This is one of the first ones for Elestrals. When an opponent activates a card effect that discards a card from your hand, you can discard this Glimbat in order to negate the effect and destroy that card. So it would be an Elestral for the destroy effect, but it does not cost you any spirits to play that, so very cool. And then the secondary ability is you can disenchant Solar from this Glimbat in order to draw 2 cards. So essentially it is a Nectar of the Gods, but it's an Elestral, and you still draw 2, but instead you're only costing 1 spirit. Javalucan, 6 attack, 4 defense. This Javalucan destroys an attack position Elestral in battle. Your opponent must expend 3 spirits. Morfrost Bat Form. When this Morfrost is discarded, you can special cast a Morfrost that isn't Bat Form from your underworld. As of right now, there are a total of 5 Morfrost, and there is a 6th one on the way. Hopefully next set we'll see it. Pulsar. This is a 2/2 1-cost Frost, which states that it gets +1 attack for every Frost Elestral in your underworld. That attack can only go up to +5, so it would be a 7 attack. And Lustragon, another hollow. So this is Dratora's Ascension form. 7 attack, 6 defense. It is a 2-cost solar, and it states you can Nexus up to 3 spirits. So that's the first time we've had a card that Nexuses 3. And I believe it's the first card that's a 2-cost that has a Nexus ability. When this Lustragon receives 1 or more solar in a Nexus, you can target and destroy a card. So you're going to use Nexus onto itself to destroy a card on your opponent's field. Which kind of sets up because Latagon and Locagon, the Nexus forms of this card, they all have some kind of a destruction effect. And last pack, guys, we are shooting for the Stellar. It is not the Spectaris pack, so we'll see how our luck goes. Alright, Lycoris the Wind Spirit. We got another Plucky, Pandolence, Mudlet. So this is Sorlet's Nexus form. 3/3, and it's 1 Earth. And it says when this receives 1 or more Earth, you can change the position of Elestral. So anytime you see the ability Receive, you don't want to. If you put multiple spirits on him, you're still only doing the ability once. So if you have multiple cards that can just add Nexus cards onto him at separate occasions, you can use that ability over and over. Boltuga. When you normal cast this Baltuga, you can expend 1 Earth in order to search your deck or Underworld for an Eruption added to your hand. Eruption is a 2-cost fire that forces your opponent to expend 3. Sorry, guys. It lets your opponent expend 3. So the cool thing about this is, because you only have 3 copies of every card in your deck, well, you say you played all 3 Eruptions, now you can go ahead and summon your Baltuga, you're going to get 1 back. Barabib, 1/1, 1-cost Earth. When you cast an Invoke rune with Earth, your opponent must expend 1 Spirit. This effect can only be activated 4 times in a turn. When you cast Mudslide, which is a new rune in this game, you can special ascend this Barabib to Barabog from your hand or deck. Anisel, a Thunder Solar 4/4. You can expend 2 Solar in order to special ascend this Anisel to Phosphocell from your hand or deck. When you cast a rune with Solar, you can enchant Thunder from your Underworld onto Anisel. Fulgaris, 2 attack, 3 defense. This Fulgaris gets +2 attack for each Thunder enchanted rune on your field. So a cool combo that you could do with this is, say you just have any other rune, say it's a different stadium or whatever. I don't have a really good example for you guys on that one, but as long as that rune has Thunder, it's going to get +2 attack. So right off the bat, you're going to have Mount Olympus, which is the stadium rune for Thunder, and Zeus. So as long as you have both of those on the field at the same time, this will get +4 from its special ability, and then an additional 1 because of Mount Olympus's ability. So essentially, it's going to go up to a 7 attack. We have another Javalucan and Rhinosect. This is an 8 attack, 5 defense. It is a 2-cost Frost. This Rhinosect can be special cast from your hand if you have a card that was originally Elestral in your rune row. So Rhinymph, the Pre-Ascension, when you use its special ability to put it into the back row and equip it to an opponent's Elestral, you can automatically special cast this Rhinosect. And then it also states you can target and destroy the empowered Elestral. So it has a very cool secondary effect. So overall, pretty good. I'm very happy with the Apollo, the Hollow Apollo. And the Lustragon's always a good card to have. But guys, that's all I got for you today. If you are new, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We post videos weekly. Like and comment the video. Let me know of all these cards you see, of the 3 rares and the Pharogeist, what your favorite card is. And guys, remember, my name is Stella Christoph, and I hope you guys all have a stellar day.
Thunder, fire, water, wind, earth, frost, solar, and lunar hand in hand, riding the waves of power will never break. For the God